have a very interesting person. We have Susan Jones. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
And Susan is a Wellesleyite, a mom. She does PTO volunteer activities. She consults for a medical devices company. And I find out that Susan is an entrepreneur. So, needless to say, Susan can do anything she wants to do. So the question is, why pickles, Susan?
Why pickles? My husband and I grew up in upstate New York, and what you do there when you have a bumper crop of cucumbers or tomatoes or whatever is that you pickle them. And you know, we were here in the Massachusetts area looking for delicious pickles and couldn't find any on the shelves. And so we knew that we loved our pickles that we made, and we thought other people would too. And so we decided to bring them to market.
So when I go to the grocery store, there's got to be at least 5 or 6 brands of pickles. And I mean, who doesn't love pickles with their sandwiches for lunch?
Right.
So I've tried, you know, several brands over the years. So I pick up a bottle of pickles and I bring it home, and I got to say that I must have tried at least 2 or 3 brands of pickles, but they all pretty much taste more or less the same. They taste like each other. I mean, it doesn't matter that they're different brands. So I wanted to ask you like a little to give us a little history or a little background about the pickles that you pickle. So are these traditional recipes? Are they based on old world traditions, modern recipes, or what are the flavors?
You know, they're a little of all of those, actually. Some are classic pickles, like our bread and butter and our dill. They're very classic recipes, traditional recipes. And then others, like our zesty and sweet and our sweet and spicy, are a traditional pickle with a modern twist, because we wanted to offer something a little bit different. Or even our apple cinnamon are just an interesting pickle that really goes with everything. I say that pickles are not just for sandwiches or not just for burgers. In our house, we eat them with grilled cheese. We eat them with soups and stews as a snack, with cheese as an appetizer, and so they're really an all-around food.
That's interesting. So it's interesting to imagine when I go to the grocery store again, I see the cereal aisle, the breakfast aisle, and there's a mile-long aisle of all these choices. And you think that in this modern day and age, in 2012, that you have the most number of choices for any food product, and yet there's only a few varieties of pickle that taste really different from each other out there. And I was wondering, so it's interesting to imagine that 100 years ago, you'd have more variety of pickles in terms of the flavors and the taste being different than we do today.
Yeah, I think part of it is, and that's very true, part of the reason is that we have, our society has gone to mass production. And so our pickles are actually made in small batches, specific to our recipes. We started making them in our kitchen and grew to a point where we now need to have them made for us.
That comes back to my next question, which is how you got started. So you had mentioned that you'd started making these at home.
We did.
So it started out of your kitchen, and then did you market that locally before you decided to outsource?
Actually, we knew very early on that making them in our kitchen was not going to be time effective or cost effective. And so we looked for a small pickle manufacturer in Massachusetts and realized that while once there were lots of small pickle companies here in Massachusetts, they have all been bought out by larger corporations. And so we had to go a little bit further west, and we found a great company that takes our recipes and scales them up, but they're still produced in small batches, just not as small as we would have done in our kitchen. Because one of the things that I felt was very important about our company was that we maintained the quality, and that we also helped foster a small business like we are. And so we have contracted with this manufacturer, and so we help each other in that regard.
Is it one manufacturer, or are there several?
Well, there's one pickle manufacturer, and then there's a smaller, another small company that makes our corn relish, our salsa, and our beets.
Ah, so you have, in addition to pickles,
We do.
you've branched into
We have.
all those.
Yeah.
So again, all of these are now available on your website, and that's rootcellarpreserves.com. Excellent.
Yep.
So that's very interesting. So did you have a family of picklers, or like a history of picklers in your family, I should say, rather?
We did. My husband's grandparents pickled, and I pickled with my parents. Made my grandmother made dill pickles. She made awesome dilly beans, and so we grew up with those flavors. We grew up with that knowledge, I suppose.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, how interesting. So Susan, tell me, when did you start your business? How long have you been in business?
We started in 2006, and I remember vividly, it was September, and we were in Sherborne getting ice cream, and my husband and I were just discussing what we wanted to do, or what would make sense for a business for us, and that's sort of how it came to be.
And have you had any prior experience in the food production or food business industry? Or?
Interestingly, we haven't, and so it was a learn-as-you-go process. I'm a registered nurse, and I have had medical sales experience. So that actually was very helpful, because I am the salesperson, and I was the person that knocked on doors at the very beginning and said, "Would you please try our pickles and carry them in your store?" And so that was very helpful. But food manufacturing was not something that I was knowledgeable of.
So was it hard? Was it tough to build your business in the beginning and to start it?
It was hard. It literally was taking a box of pickles and going to Fell's Market here in Wellesley.
Right.
Paul and Peter Katsikaris were the first store to give us a try, and so I want to thank them, because they believed in us, and they gave us some good advice. They gave me some good advice about how the jars should look, or what types of stores they might work in, how to get them into stores, and so and then so I started making small circles around our house, and then the circles get larger and larger, and it's really a groundswell. It's been a groundswell. It's been nice.
Wow. So what has, in your opinion, what has been the most fun part of the pickling experience, and also the most frustrating part of the business?
The most fun part has been going out and meeting people typically when we start in a new store, when they take our products, or even in an existing store. In order to get people to try our product, we will go out and do demos, is what we call them, and where we literally set up a table, and I will set out a variety of pickles, and people will come and try them.
And so what are some of the places that you would had demos? Do you do trade shows?
We do trade shows. We've done the Fancy Food Show. We've done the All Natural Food Expo. We've done the International Pickle Festival, which is coming up in November, and that's held in Rosendale, New York. And then, so those are the bigger shows. And then we do demos. We've done demos at Fell's. We are now in Wasic's Cheese Shop. We've done demos there, and as well as John Dewar. John Dewar here in Wellesley was the second store to give us a try. And so it's really fun. It's really fun to see people's reaction when they taste the different products.
Right.
And what has been nice for me is that oftentimes they'll, like when they try our bread and butter pickles, they will say to me, "Oh, this tastes just like my grandmother used to make."
Right.
And that is so rewarding, because that's really what we're trying to do. We're trying to bring back a bit of the past. You know, in our fast-paced world, everything, as you know, is manufactured in such a high quantity, and we're losing the art of yesteryear. We're losing the pickling art, and so I also feel like we are bringing that lost taste to our customers.
And you also work with mom and pop shops and smaller.
And that's important to me. It's important that we support those smaller smaller stores as well, smaller companies.
Right. So tell me, through this whole process and all the experiences you've had and the marketing and the producing the pickles and you tweak your own recipes as well, you know, with the different pickle producers, and you come up with new ones. So what's been the most surprising?
The apple cinnamon.
Ah.
Are you talking about products?
Yes.
Yes. The apple cinnamon pickles. They are our sweetest pickle of the bunch. And we actually introduced them about 3 years ago.
So I'm guessing that's this one?
That's the one next to it,
this
right,
one.
right there.
The apple cinnamon.
Yeah.
Right.
We introduced it as a fall product.
Right.
Apples, apple cinnamon, and what we found was people really loved it all year round, and so it has become.
It's like a staple now.
It's become a staple because they're great with.
Right.
You know, comfort food like mac and cheese and soups and stews, but they're also great with barbecue in the summer. And so that's the feedback that I love getting, how people use our products.
Right. So tell me some of these flavors. We have a nice range of pickles here. So tell me some of these flavors that are.
Well, the one on the end is our sweet and spicy, and that was that was our first pickle. And that, depending on my mood, is probably my favorite.
Yeah.
It's a little sweet, a little spicy, and you really just have to try it.
Yeah.
The zesty and sweet is also one of my favorites because it's like the bread and butter. Bread and butter is a traditional sweet pickle, but the zesty and sweet takes that bread and butter and puts it on steroids.
So now, is there some mint to add the zest, or what causes the zest?
No, it's actually a chili pepper.
It's a chili pepper.
Yeah, and garlic. Chili pepper and lots of garlic in those products.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And what's the orange one there? The yellow orange one.
Oh, that's the corn relish. That's a recipe that I developed. There's an interesting story to this, along with the one on the end, which is the corn and black bean salsa.
Yep, do tell.
So I came up with the corn relish recipe because feedback that we got from our customers was they wanted, you know, they always asked us, do you have a corn relish? Do you have a corn relish? It's apparently very popular.
Wow.
So I developed the corn relish recipe. And when I would go out and do demos, as a serving suggestion, I would take a jar of our corn relish and add a can of black beans, and it became a corn and black bean salsa. And the feedback that we got from our customers was, well, I want to buy the salsa in a jar. I don't want to have to mix the two together.
Right.
And so that's how the salsa came about. We call it our corn chip dip.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
And what's the one on the end? The other one
that's the corn and black bean salsa or the corn
so that's
chip
the
dip.
actual salsa.
Yeah, and that's how that product came about. Isn't that interesting?
That is very interesting. Yeah. And what's this red one that's right here?
The red is our it's our cranberry beets. Started out as Harvard beets, and Harvard beets are they're a very syrupy, sweet beet, typically diced. And what we did was we took out a lot of the sugar, added some allspice to bring out the flavor, and added some cranberry because we're in cranberry country, and our cranberry beets were born.
Wow. All right, now in case our viewers missed this, we have to say it one more time. Now, where can we find the salsas and the pickles together in one place?
Yes. Fell's Market, Wassack's Cheese Shop, and John Dewar, and Whole Foods.
Oh, nice. They're in Whole Foods now.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. And online. On rootcellarpreserves.com. Okay, sounds good. So here's the other question now. So have you roped your children into helping you with this?
Interesting question. Every once in a while they do. They have helped us in the beginning stages. They helped us label the jars and, tape the jars down, pack them up to be shipped, or pack them up to go to, the stores. In the very early stages, my little one, who is now 9, but she was 3 at the time, would come with me on sales calls or on deliveries. And the funny joke was that when she would come with me, I would buy more at the little specialty shop for her, like cookies or something, than I was selling in pickles. And so I had to revamp my thinking a little bit and say, we have a limit here. And then my older one now, she's 14. She is now helping to package the online orders.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So it's working out well.
It's like a real family business you have here. Every single person is
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 helping.
contributing
Yeah.
to the pickling.
Yeah.
How about recipes? Do your children help you with the recipes?
They actually are our
suggestions?
testing.
Yeah.
They're our testing ground. And I just want to share a funny
Yeah.
story, another funny story, because
Yeah.
I have quite a few of them, about our corn relish. Our corn relish is wonderful on grilled cheese sandwiches. And so my older daughter created the Isabel sandwich,
Oh,
and
very
that is a
nice.
grilled cheese sandwich with turkey and our corn relish. And not to be outdone by her older sister,
Right.
my younger daughter, Eleanor, created the Eleanor sandwich,
Right.
and it's a grilled cheese sandwich with just the corn relish and no turkey.
How about tomatoes?
No tomatoes,
No tomatoes
for them, no.
Just the grilled cheese
Yeah.
and the corn relish. We'll have to try that.
So they are definitely our testing ground.
Nice. You
Yeah.
get some recipes out of this too for sandwiches. Awesome. So I was on the website and I saw photos of you with some famous people. So now you have to share the stories of all the celebrities you've met in connection to the pickles.
I think my first celebrity or famous person that I met was Mayor Menino. I was doing a demo at a local cheese shop in Roslindale called the Boston Cheese Cellar, which I love. And as it was a gorgeous day and lots of people were out, and apparently on this particular day, Mayor Menino and his entourage were visiting the local businesses in Boston, and he happened to be in Roslindale that day. And he came by, and I introduced myself, asked him to taste pickle.
Which pickle did he try?
He tried the sweet and spicy. Loved it.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
So did he have a surprised look on his face when he took a bite? So this is not like any other pickle I've ever tasted
I believe
at the
he
grocery
did.
store. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going with that story.
Yes.
Sounds good.
Yeah. And we have had a visit to our corporate headquarters, aka our house,
Right.
by Barney Frank.
Oh, nice.
Because he wanted to know.
He was in the neighborhood and he said, I heard there's a great pickler here in Wellesley, and he stopped by.
He actually wanted to know what was happening in his with his constituents, what kind of businesses were starting up and whatnot. So it was a nice visit from him.
Right. Oh, nice. And which one did he try?
He tried the dill.
The dill. Which one is that over here?
The dill is right here in the middle.
That one.
Yep.
Ah, okay. And what? So I know it has dill. So what else does it have in it?
It has garlic.
Garlic.
Yep, lots of garlic and dill and vinegar and.
And when you produce one of these, how long does it take for the pickling process itself?
It depends on each pickle. It can take from a week up to about a month.
And these are mostly cucumbers?
Yes.
They're mostly and is there a certain variety of cucumber that you use?
It's the Kirby cucumber.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you
because
think
they
that-
tend to be smaller.
And that works better compared to other cucumbers, you think?
The larger cucumbers get to be too large, and they get soft when you.
You think they have a higher
pickle
water
them.
content? They don't stay sort of firm and crisp?
Yep.
Oh, interesting. And so tell us about new flavors, new products that are coming out. I'm sure you're working on new recipes at home. I'm sure Isabel has some new ideas
She does.
for combinations.
We take like the fall and the beginning of the year to develop new products. And one thing that I'm working on is a relish. I'd like to do a zucchini relish.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe with some interesting flavors thrown in there.
Yeah, some zucchinis sort of comparable to cucumbers,
It
so it
is.
could have
It
a
is.
very interesting flavor.
Yeah, so it's like it will be like a relish, but with a modern twist.
Right.
And I actually would like to expand our company into jams and jellies. I have a spiced blueberry jam that I'm working on.
And when you say spiced?
Spiced with like nutmeg and cinnamon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very interesting. So not quite chili, but it's other flavors. Oh, how interesting. Wow, we can't wait for that to come out. And,
So look for that.
Yeah, we definitely will. And I was going to ask you, so I also read something about how you donate
We do.
proceeds from the pickling
Yes.
business to very interesting causes. And they're based in renovation.
Yes. Yeah.
So tell us about
I said,
those.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
As I said, my husband and I both grew up in upstate New York, and we were back there. We were back there and realized that, the traditional, just as I said earlier, the tradition of pickling and putting up pickles for your to eat throughout the year is a lost art. Is becoming a lost art, and just like the pickles. the homesteads where this happened and our old American homesteads are actually falling into ruin. And so we do donate part of our profits to restoration projects, both here and in New York State, or other, in other areas that we feel are, that people are really focused on bringing back and preserving our old American homesteads.
So are these part of a society, like a restoration society?
Well, we some are and some aren't. Some are just privately
owned. So by descendants from the original families who still have the farmstead.
Right.
And are they still working farms?
Some are and some aren't.
And so name a few of those.
Well, the Wellesley Historical Society, we've contributed to their preservation because they're actually in the process of preserving the house that they're now currently in. And then we had a project out in Sherborne, and then we had a project in upstate New York, Little Falls, that a farm that was restored.
Oh, awesome! Yeah. So you have quite a few.
We have a couple going on.
Oh, that's so interesting. So please do share anything else that you might want to add. Anything else you can think of. This is a fabulous business, and it's awesome because nothing's comfort food like pickles, especially in the fall and the winter when you just want to stay at home and make that turkey sandwich and add some corn relish on it.
Exactly. We would like to thank our the local stores that had faith in us, and they really were instrumental in laying the groundwork for our company to grow. And so Fell's Market, Wassack's Cheese Shop, and the local John Dewar here in Wellesley. We thank you.
And do you have any plans for expanding further?
We actually do have, because we're in Whole Foods, we're in Whole Foods nationwide, depending on the locale. We have our products are out on the West Coast and up in Maine, and so
excellent.
We're hoping to expand even further nationwide.
Right. Well, we'll have to have you back to talk about how your pickles have made it overseas.
That sounds
great.
So
hopefully by next year, and then we can do another show about that.
And how the sweet side of our business is coming along.
Yeah, absolutely.
The jams and jellies.
The jams and jellies. We can't wait for that blueberry preserve. So when is that expected to be out by for production?
Hopefully next fall.
Oh, lovely. We'll certainly look for that. And will that be at Whole Foods as well?
Of course it will be.
Excellent. Sounds good. Well, thank you so much, Susan. This has been so much fun. Thanks for coming in.
It's been my pleasure to be here.
Absolutely.
Thank you.